Do you actually need a toner? What's the difference between a serum and a moisturizer? And when should I be applying these different things and in which orders? Skincare routines. There are so many different types and so many products that go into each one. How are we supposed to know what's right for our skin? We see these ones that are trending from overseas that have 16 steps, and yet we see these infomercials that say one product can do 10 different things. What's the actual truth, and how do these products work? In today's video, we are going to go through the main components of skincare routines, what each product does, how they work, how often you should use them, and what layer of the skin they actually penetrate into. This is going to help you craft a skincare routine that's right for your skin, so that you can do what's best for you and avoid wasting money. The first part of almost all skincare routines are cleansers. But did you know that there's different types, and depending on how much makeup you wear is going to depend on if you need to cleanse more than once. What is the purpose of a cleanser? Well, it's not just to cleanse the skin, but it's to get rid of oil or dirt that might have accumulated on top of your skin throughout the day. And if you do wear makeup, it's actually to remove and break that down so that it doesn't clog your pores or make your pores larger while you sleep. And for those who aren't removing their makeup properly at night, that could be one of the causes for larger pores. Before I went to aesthetics school, I used to wear my foundation to sleep and just reapply more on top every single morning. It's no wonder my pores looked like the geysers of Yellowstone. Most cleansers just work on the outside of the skin, again on top of the epidermis. But as you know, because you've seen the Layers of the Skin episode of Skin Science, we do have these pores. These pores are kind of like special roads that go into the skin. Now, a cleanser usually does not penetrate to the dermis, but because of this hair follicle, it can kind of use this as like a magical elevator and get into this little hair follicle. Now this is where acne tends to flare up. So a lot of cleansers that do have acne fighting ingredients are actually using this little hair follicle pathway to get their products and their active ingredients such as salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide right into this area. So even though it's mainly on the top of the skin, you could be getting into that pore. So what should you look for in a cleanser? This is going to vary dramatically if you do or don't wear makeup. Think about it. Makeup goes on the epidermis on the very top, and it kind of adds another layer to our face. And it's meant to stay on our face. You see these foundations that tout all day 16-hour wear, which is great. But if they stay on your face when you sleep, that can cause clogs, that can cause issues, that can cause breakouts and premature aging. So if you do wear makeup, you might actually want to cleanse twice. If you wear makeup, something you really want to look for in a cleanser is something with an oil base or something that claims that it removes or breaks down makeup. This means that it's not just washing the top of the skin, but it's actually taking those makeup particles and removing them completely from the surface so that they don't do any damage. Now, if you are using an oil-based cleanser, you don't want to just leave that on the skin. Most of the times, that's when you would go in with a second cleanse. And if you don't wear makeup, this would be your step one. This is only going to be on your face for about 30 seconds to a minute while you're washing it. So even though it might tout some amazing ingredients, just keep in mind that the longer you use it for, the better chance it'll have of working. A regular cleanser should be able to simply wash the skin. But if you are looking to actually treat an issue such as acne or wrinkles, you could look for cleansers that have active ingredients, such as salicylic acid, some vitamin C, or some other acids. These again will wash the top of the skin, but will have the opportunity to get into that hair follicle to do a little bit more for you. Most professionals recommend cleansing twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. For me personally, I find that when I wake up, my skin really isn't that dirty because all I did was sleep with my head against a pillow at night. So in my own case, I actually find that my skin reacts best if I only wash it once at night to remove any makeup and to make sure I get the dirt, the sweat, and the gunk off my face that accumulated throughout the day. Do what's right for you, but keep in mind that if you over cleanse, for instance, if you're cleansing 3 or 4 times a day, that can actually cause more breakouts and more issues. Another little tip I want to give you is that if your cleanser has a pump top, do not open this. So many people unscrew their bottles when they have a pump top, and this could actually ruin your entire bottle of cleanser. The reason that products are packaged differently is because of the ingredients. Do you see that this one is vitamin C? Vitamin C can be super helpful for skin, but it's also very unstable. And if it gets in contact with oxygen, it can actually ruin the benefits of the vitamin C. Keep the lid locked on because maybe that formula needs it to be airtight. Next, let's talk exfoliation. Our skin has this natural exfoliating process, but sometimes things get clogged up, which can cause acne or just general dullness. This is where exfoliators come in, and there's two different types. There's physical and chemical. We'll go into the details of those later, but know that one uses chemicals or acids to kind of eat away at the layers of the skin to help exfoliate, and the other one is actually physical, or manual, that uses a more rubbing or mechanical motion to get a similar effect. Exfoliators should be used after your cleanser. You remove that makeup, you remove any dirt and oil, and then you actually start to exfoliate and renew the skin. Think of exfoliators as like laundry day for your face. Just the way you wash your clothes once or twice a week when they get dirty, that's kind of what exfoliating does to your skin. I wouldn't recommend doing it every day, and most people recommend doing it about twice a week. Most manual exfoliators have little beads or a sand-like texture to them, and most of them just remove a couple layers of cells here at the skin surface. But if you're too aggressive, if you're just scrubbing the hell out of your face, or if you're using a skin brush or a micro scrubber too aggressively, you can actually penetrate too deep and cause damage. When it comes to chemical exfoliators, I tend to like these a little bit better. These could be made of many different things, but they usually have an acid and really small particles that can get pretty deep. Again, they mainly work here on the top, exfoliating the stratum corneum or the top of the epidermis. But the particles can go a bit deeper. Some might even reach to the dermis, where they can stimulate collagen production, or wrinkle reduction, or scar reduction. Toners, and the confusion between them. What are they? Do you actually need them? And how do they work? The purpose of a toner is to tone the skin. Our skin has a pH balance, which stands for potential hydrogen. Anything that has hydrogen or is acidic or basic is going to fall somewhere on this scale. Water hangs out at about a 7, and our skin likes to hang out at about a 5. A toner's purpose is to deliver a little bit of a boost to your skin and to actually rebalance. After cleansing, your toner is what preps your skin to help other products penetrate deeper. In all honesty, I don't think toners are super essential or necessary. They can be helpful, and I use one in my routine, but if you're short on cash or you just don't like a ton of steps, this is probably one that you can skip. If, however, you have blackheads or large pores, toners can really help. They're usually a liquid like this, they usually have some strong actives, so again, they can use this pathway of the pore to get down pretty deep and actually shrink the surface area here so that your pores appear smaller. So what to look for? Some toners are great and some are absolute crap. Alcohols are something you probably want to avoid here. Not all of them are drying, but most of them are. And you're basically paying $30 or a bunch of money for a product that's not worth that much. Also, avoid hydroquinone. We're going to go deeper into this ingredient in a future episode, but there are some pretty scary things surrounding it, and I don't think it's a good idea to be using in your skincare. I personally like witch hazel and aloe vera. Both are natural and really effective. And if you have a toner that has something like glycolic acid or antioxidants, these are always a good boost. The best time to use a toner is after you cleanse, or if you're trying to get a serum or a moisturizer to penetrate better. Serums are like a secret weapon, but there's a lot of confusion surrounding them. Should you use them before or after a moisturizer or in place of one? What exactly do they do and how do they work? Well, the purpose of most serums is to have a powerful concentrate that delivers some potent benefit to your skin. How deep a serum penetrates is going to depend on its active ingredients, but most of them are formulated with super small particles, small molecular weight items that actually can penetrate into the dermis or into these lower layers of the skin. This is the kind of stuff that is really going to work on those acne scars, on those wrinkles, or even on those active breakouts. Your moisturizer is what locks them in later, but I feel like these are a secret weapon that a lot more people should be using if you're trying to use skincare in a treatment-based manner. So what should you look for in a serum? This is where the other skin science videos are going to help you out the most. Research your specific skin condition or what it is you're trying to treat. Wrinkles, acne, cysts, scars, pigmentation, etc. And find the correct ingredients that are going to do that. Personally, I look for serums that have something like an acid, antioxidants, maybe some hyaluronic acid, or even peptides. And a lot of serums are sold with some of these superhero ingredients because again, that small particle can get really deep. You should use a serum before a moisturizer because you want it to penetrate deeper. And you can use these once or twice a day. After that serum, it comes to locking them in with a moisturizer. The purpose of a moisturizer is is to moisturize the skin, but do you know that they do a lot more than that? They kind of act as a shield, protecting your skin and what's inside from the outside world, helping to block things from getting in. They are permeable, so they let certain molecules in, or they let oxygen or air or water vapor. But at the same time, moisturizers are meant to create a healthy little layer that keeps the bad stuff out. Being someone who has suffered with acne, I always avoided moisturizers because I thought, holy guacamole, my skin is so oily already, the last thing I want to do is add hydration. But that's actually not true. If you give your skin the hydration it needs, it doesn't need to work so hard down here to produce its own. And for me, adding a moisturizer actually helped me decrease my overall oil production. Most moisturizers stay here in the epidermis, around the stratum corneum. But if you do have moisturizers that do have an active ingredient, some of those smaller particles might penetrate deeper, maybe even into the dermis if they're small enough, or they might use this pore pathway. There are also different kinds of moisturizers, like gels or lotions. Gels are going to be a little bit lighter. Because they are a little bit lighter, it's going to be a little bit easier for them to permeate. Whereas lotions are usually a little bit thicker, and these are going to create more of a barrier on top of the skin that lasts a little bit longer and might be a bit more hydrating. So what should you look for in a moisturizer? There are a ton of great ingredients out there. Look at the other skin science videos to figure out what ingredients are best for you. But something you should avoid is dimethicone or silicones. Dimethicones and silicones are smoothing agents that look great in makeup, but I would not recommend them when it comes to your moisturizer, especially if your moisturizer has something like petroleum in it, that's essentially Vaseline, or mineral oil. Those are horrible for your face, but they're cheap, inexpensive fillers that some companies rely on you not knowing your ingredients so they can sell you an expensive product that's full of crap. So remember to always turn around those labels, read what's on the back, and reference the How to Read Your Skincare Labels video that we've done as a part of Skin Science so you actually know what's in those products. While those are the main components of skincare routines, we've also got add-ons, those little a la carte things that might help you target specific issues, specifically spot treatments. And as an acne sufferer, I am all too familiar. Spot treatments and some of these targeted things are meant to target a certain problem. For instance, whiteheads or an active breakout, or pigmentation, or marks left behind from scars. The way most spot treatments work is by sitting on top of the skin and penetrating pretty darn deep. Some even go down to the stratum basal, where skin cells are produced, and some even get down into the dermis if they are looking at treating wrinkles or scars. What should you look for in a good spot treatment? This again is where you want to make sure that you're not wasting your money. Turn around those labels and read the ingredients. Look for actives, or look for something that you know is going to work for your condition, such as glycolic or lactic acid, which have small particles and can actually get pretty deep. And when should you use your spot treatments? Once or twice a week, or if you want, you could use them up to once a day. I would personally recommend using them at night. Usually they have some more powerful ingredients, and you don't want to wear those out during the middle of the day or get sun exposure into those areas. So I would say right before you go to bed so they can work all night as well. Eye creams. This is somewhere that a lot of people get ripped off and they don't even know it. Eye creams are normally targeting things like wrinkles or fine lines, but they're actually formulated very carefully because the skin around your eye area is much more delicate and it's a little bit thinner, meaning it's more permeable. In an eye cream, you want to look for things that will actually penetrate, but you want to make sure that you're not being ripped off or causing damage to the delicate eye area. You don't want to use anything that has an active acne product in this area, such as a benzoyl peroxide or a salicylic acid. Again, avoid petroleum or mineral oil. Those are gross fillers that you don't need. A lot of companies use them because they know that you'll pay $60 to $90 to try to get rid of little crow's feet around the eye area. Those ingredients can also overhydrate this area of the skin, which can cause a condition called melia, which needs to be removed with a little scalpel by a dermatologist or a trained professional. Ouch. Masks are hiding secrets from you. These are some of my favorite components of a skincare routine, and I feel like a lot of people don't know what they actually do. There's also 3 different kinds of masks, all that work very differently. You have the masks that you actually mix and put on your face. You have sheet masks, which aren't really masks at all. And then you have peel-off masks, which really aren't masks either. Peel-off masks work by actually peeling off a top layer of the epidermis. Doesn't that kind of sound like exfoliation? Because that's exactly what they do. Peel-off masks really belong in the exfoliator category. Also, sheet masks. When you think about it, it's this liquidy product that you use along with a sheet on your skin. When you take the sheet part off, you want to kind of pat that stuff in, right? That's a bit more like a serum. So even though it is a mask, It technically belongs in the serum category. Actual masks, such as clay masks or treatment masks, are where the true skin science and benefits begin. Masks can do a variety of things. If you're trying to get rid of oil, you might use something that has clay. If you're trying to get rid of acne or scars, you might use something with tea tree essential oils or something like retinaldehyde. I love masks because they stay on your skin for a good 15 to 20 minutes. Remember back to our cleanser? We use that for 60 seconds to a minute and wash it off. So even if it has an active ingredient, it's probably not doing much. Even our exfoliators are so specific, but masks have a good 20 minutes or more to actually penetrate into your face. I would recommend looking for a mask that is actually applied as a mask. You let it sit on the skin and then you rinse it off. Look for those ingredients that are actually going to make a difference, and sometimes you can skirt the rules and leave them on a little bit longer. If you're using a mask that gets rid of oil, it might be clay-based, sits on top of the skin, and might penetrate into this oil gland to kind of get rid of any excess oil that could be causing breakouts or overproducing skin. If you are using a mask that has targeted actives such as peptides or such as retinaldehyde, it could be going all the way into the dermis. Most people say to use masks once or twice a week, but if you have the opportunity, I would say it's safe to mask once a day. I really like masking in the evenings, and I've turned this into a part of my nighttime skincare routine. Masks are magic, and I would highly recommend adding one to your skincare routine if you haven't already. Very lastly, but definitely not least, we need to discuss sunscreen. The use of sunscreen is pretty obvious. It's to protect you from the sun. But not all sunscreens are created equal. There are two different types of sunscreens, chemical or physical. Physical is otherwise known as mineral, and it works a little bit differently. Closer to the summer, we'll be discussing the actual molecular differences and how these work. But note that the chemical ones might be a little bit more dangerous to your skin, whereas the physical ones reflect light instead of absorbing it. Chemical sunscreens are things that end in ONE, such as avobenzone or oxybenzone. Physical or mineral sunscreens have actives like titanium dioxide or zinc oxide. Personally, I always stay on the mineral side because they are safer and they're probably better for acne-prone skin. Regardless of which one you choose, they are suspended in a solution, and the ingredients in that can also break you out or save and hydrate your skin. What to look for is a sunscreen that works for you. But where do they penetrate? The reason I like physical or mineral is because they sit on top of the skin and act like a mirror, reflecting light away. Some of the chemical ones might actually get a little bit deeper into the skin, and they actually absorb the UV rays that we're trying to protect ourselves against. Knowing that UV rays can be damaging, if they're holding that so close to the skin, they might be causing some damage that we're not yet aware of. So for me, I steer clear. Also, the chemical ones are horrible for the ocean and ecosystems. They're now banned in Hawaii and other places as well. So I would always recommend going for a physical. Almost all skincare professionals recommend that you use sunscreen once a day. And I think that is generally a pretty good rule of thumb. Even if you stay indoors or in a car, some of those UVB and UVA rays can still penetrate and do their damage. Prevention is easier than treatment, and sunscreen is a great way to go about that. Always apply to the face, to the chest, and the neck. But don't forget the ears or the back of the hands. These are places that some people skip that actually show aging pretty readily. Sunscreen should always be the last step in your skincare before starting your day. Skincare routines are essential for good hygiene, but they can be so overwhelming. We hear about these crazy 16-step routines, and then we have products that say they're a peel-off mask or a hydrating cleanser, and we don't know if they're an exfoliator or a moisturizer or what's in them. Now you do. You can use this information to craft any skincare routine to your own skin's needs, so that you can save money and give your skin what you actually deserve. Knowledge is power, and I had to learn a lot of this stuff the hard way over 15 years of suffering with acne. Now you know how these products work, when to use them, and what to look for, so that you can make the right decisions for yourself. We deserve to be empowered by our skincare routines and make the right choices for us. In Skin Science, every Saturday at 11 a.m., we get back to the biology of our beauty, the chemistry in our cosmetics, and the science of our skin. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss them. And in the meantime, always remember to be beautiful and to stay hydrated. I'll see you next Saturday at 11 on Skin Science.